So this is my third attempt and my last attempt on a Sunday at 2:15, trying to get a live stream going here. So we tried twice before. We were having connection issues, and my apologies for those issues. I don't know what was going on, but we've been having connection issues today. Maybe it's because there's a lot of other people doing live streams. I don't know. But we were talking about a couple things, the draft, and what I mean when I talk about big three. Again, I mentioned it in my last video, big three. And a lot of people mentioned the Golden State Warriors and particularly the 2008 Boston Celtics as big threes. And I want to explain again why that's not what we're talking about. The Golden State Warriors, big three, would be Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson. All three players were drafted and developed in the Golden State system. So that's not what we're talking about in terms of big three. Then people mentioned the Boston Celtics with Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett. And again, Paul Pierce, Rajon Rondo, Kendrick Perkins, Tony Allen, Baby Doc, Glenn were all drafted by Boston. They do not win a championship without those guys, even with Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett. So that's not the big three situation we're talking about. Again, when I'm talking about a big three, I'm dealing with a situation like LeBron. What did LeBron do that was different than what I just mentioned? LeBron was drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers. And during his free agency period, prior actually to the free agency period, he had conspired, and I use that word conspired purposely, with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh to come together in Miami. Pat Riley, already knowing what was going on, cleared cap space for the three of them. And then LeBron announced, if you remember, there was a special ESPN segment where he announced, and this is what his words, quote, "I'm going to be taking my talents to South Beach." That was the formation of a big three. And that, again, is a situation where you are paying three guys so much of your percentage of your cap that what you can afford is minimum contracts after that. And that's a big three that I'm talking. And that's what's played out. That's what I'm talking about. That's played out. LeBron has done it a couple of times. He went from Miami, went back to Cleveland. Remember the whole letter about going back home that everybody boo-hooed about. And he joined forces with Kyrie Irving, and they went and got Kevin Love. Again, they already were planning this. This is a big three. And they filled the rest of the roster out pretty much with minimum contracts. And most of those minimum contracts are players that are chasing a ring. For example, Shane Battier and Ray Allen chased a ring when they went to Miami, signed minimum deals to try to win a chip. That's concept of big three. So what we're dealing with right now in the playoffs is your Golden State Warriors, who, again, I mentioned the three players they drafted and developed. Okay. You're dealing with Boston, who drafted and developed Tatum, Brown, and Marcus Smart, as well as Robert Williams III. That's not big three in what I'm talking about. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, that's big three. They get these three guys. They spend $100 million on these three guys. Okay. And, you know, they can only afford minimum contracts. So they get guys that are looking for rings and young players that don't cost much to try to win a chip. And they don't even win a playoff game. Okay. They spent $100 million. That's why I say it's played out now. Okay. Then we talked about tanking. That's pretty obvious. You're purposely trying to lose. You're playing G League players and players that really may not even belong in the NBA to lose so you can get a higher draft position. Now, this is illegal to do in the NBA. Okay. But people still mentioning the Knicks should be tanking. You're not tanking when you're playing your young players to develop them. Like Detroit's not tanking when they're playing Cade Cunningham, right? Oklahoma City's not tanking when they're playing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Josh Giddey. They're trying to develop these guys. That's not tanking, all right? Tanking is you're purposely trying to lose. Philly did that. That was the last team to do that. And what did they end up with? Joel Embiid. But they had Nerlens Noel. They had Okafor. They had Ben Simmons. They had all of these guys that they tried to win by tanking, and it just didn't work. Okay, it just didn't work. And then, of course, again, the big three concept of three guys coming together. So we're gonna play in Madison Square Garden and get a bunch of minimum deals. See, that worked for LeBron because of the type of player LeBron is. And I'm not saying LeBron's greater or less than like Kobe Bryant or anybody else, but I'm saying it worked for the way he played. But it's not going to work for everybody, and it's played out. Other teams try it, and it doesn't work. So again, we talk about developing the right way, and you look at teams that have done it more than once. So you're looking at your San Antonio Spurs, who started with David Robinson and then tried to build around Robinson, and then they went and drafted Tim Duncan, and now you start in a dynasty. You start Tim Duncan, then you get Ginobili, you get Parker, and now you have the core of what you drafted and developed to win championships. Okay. Boston, I just mentioned, they drafted Tatum, they drafted Brown, they drafted Smart, they drafted Robert Williams III. These are players they drafted. Thank you, Hamish, for the super chat. These are players they drafted and developed. That's not big three, that's development. We want the Knicks to do that. That's what we want from the Knicks. Keep drafting and developing until you get a core that you can start winning with. Okay, that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about trying to chase the next star that's going to save your team. That's played out. Okay, that's played out. Media keeps bringing that up because it's catnip to some in Knicks Nation. They keep bringing up, go get this guy, or there's a rumor this guy wants to come, or there's a rumor that guy wants to come. They're trying to feed Knicks Nation catnip so that they can get clicks. And if they're on big platforms like ESPN, they can get commercial money. That's what they're doing. You know, they're using that type of information to try to get money from clicks, money from commercials. And if you're some of these guys, like I said, like at The Athletic, they write some crap and they want you to pay for it. And that's what this all is about. Okay, that's what it's all about. Now, a channel like mine is more not, we're not interested in bringing stuff for clickbait. I mean, we're trying to be real with the Knicks, and my niche, and along with others like Sim and Nick of Time and CP. Our niche is the real fan base of New York, the real knowledgeable fan that makes up the Knicks. And we're not trying to, get you to click because we're putting some crap out there that you just want to click on and then you don't have nothing because we're not really, it's like Wizard of Oz. You look behind the curtain and nothing's there. We're trying to bring real Knicks content that talks real Knicks situation. Now, as Knicks fans, what do we want as Knicks fans? We want to see our team win. I don't think I'm being crazy. I think I could speak for the Knicks Nation in saying that. We want our team to win. Okay. Then the second question, and where you get disagreements on, okay, how do we go about doing that? And what I'm saying is, we don't want, first of all, to repeat the mistakes of the past 20 years in trying to get a player that we think is going to save the Knicks. And you've actually seen headlines. Who's going to save the Knicks? You understand? So we're not trying to do that. So what do you want to do? What you don't need to do is reinvent the wheel. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're seeing what San Antonio did, if you're seeing how Miami has done it with Pat Riley, if you're seeing how Dallas has done it with Mark Cuban, if you're seeing how Boston has done it, you want to repeat that formula. You want that formula because it's proven to work. Y'all got me? So we're trying to repeat a formula that's proven. I know it sounds simple, right? But obviously some teams don't get it because you got the Sacramento Kings of the world, and then you got the previous Knicks regimes. So we know some teams don't get it, but it starts with a solid front office. That's how it starts. Pat Riley calls the shots in Miami. And the owner, I don't hardly know who the owner is because he left the whole thing in Pat Riley's hands. And Pat Riley has had Eric Spoelstra as his coach, by the way. I got to say, Spoelstra got robbed. He should have been coach of the year. Spoelstra's been getting robbed for years. Now, in my opinion, he's one of the best coaches in the world. And he's been getting robbed for coach of the year for many years. I can understand not giving it to him when LeBron was there. But this cat, year in, year out, no matter what kind of recipes he gets, he puts a team out there that competes, man. And I really respect Eric Spoelstra, one of my favorite coaches. And so, but Pat Riley, through good, through bad, through thick and thin, him and Spoelstra are on the same page. All right, right? I think we can agree. They're on the same page all the time. All right? They obviously draft well because they drafted Hero, Bam Adebayo. They got off the scrap heap Robinson, and they turn these guys into players. Okay? So you want to copy that. So the Knicks, to me, with Leon Rose, well, first of all, the key was Dolan deciding to step back. Even during the course of this season, there were times when people thought Dolan was going to step in, including myself, that he's going to step in and say something, but he didn't. He stepped back. And he really was trying to step back when he went out there to the middle of nowhere, Wyoming or wherever the heck Phil Jackson was, to pay him $60 million to come to New York. He was trying to give the keys to somebody he could trust to run the organization. Unfortunately, as we saw, Phil Jackson was a great coach, a terrible executive. Okay, he's not Jerry West, obviously, as an executive, but that's what Dolan was trying to do at the time. Then he put his friend in there, Steve Mills out of Roosevelt, Long Island. My man, love Steve Mills, but two things happened. Steve Mills, he made mistakes in putting together a roster, number one. Number two, he didn't get, to me, the rope or the time to learn the trade as an executive, to make mistakes and come back. Because Knicks Nation is unforgiving. Somebody makes a mistake, y'all never forgive them sometimes. It's crazy. But that's what happens. So he was out. He's still in the organization, by the way. He's still an executive at Madison Square Garden. He's just not running the Knicks. Then, of course, we went through the whole David Fizdale, Hornacek stuff, okay. Now he gets Leon Rose, a trusted and respected agent. And he's following the blueprint that both the Kings had started to do, Golden State did, really, and then, of course, the Lakers did. He's following that blueprint. So he gets Leon Rose and he gives him the keys and he says, I'm going to let you run this thing. And that's really the best thing Dolan has done for a minute. So we got to give Leon, and Leon to me has shown me enough that I trust what he's doing. Okay. To me, by getting Walt Perrin as his head scout. Okay. And then, even though Tibbs don't like to listen to none of his assistants, he went and got Kenny Payne. He went and got Mike Woodson. He went and got Johnny Bryant, and he put them on the bench. And I'm telling you, to make Johnny Bryant the title of associate head coach, to me, that means that's the guy that's waiting in the wings if Tibbs messed up. Okay, that's the guy that's there. If Tibbs messes up, we would want a Mark Jackson or Kenny Atkinson. But I'm telling you, Johnny Bryant is there for that purpose. If Tibbs messes up, he's going to be the guy that steps in and becomes the head coach. And I don't blame him. He needs a shot. He needs to get his shot. Young cat needs to get his shot. The players love him, just like they did with Kenny Atkinson. So I think Johnny Brown will be another Kenny Atkinson, really. So I have no problem with that. But that's really what you're dealing with. Okay, that's what you're dealing with here. So I like what's going on. We got to give these guys a shot. Now, did Leon mess up last summer? Yeah, he messed up in a sense. And I say in a sense because he didn't sign Kemba to a long-term deal. He signed Kemba to 2 years. So 2 years is telling you something. If you're talking about signing a point guard of Kemba reputation for a 2-year deal, what does that tell you? It tells you he never intended for Kemba to be a long-term solution at the point guard. Okay, it wasn't going to be long-term for a 2-year deal. Okay, that was not his intent. Why would he draft an Obi Toppin at 8 when you had Julius Randle? Obviously, if you remember the news media reports from Ian Begley that summer, he was planning on trading Julius Randle. But Tibbs stopped him. Okay, and Julius being in the contract year stopped him. But that's not the situation anymore. Okay, so now talking about the draft. With the draft, the Knicks are in this situation. There's a 76% chance that they get the number 1 pick. That they pick 11. 77% chance they pick at 11. There's a 9% chance they pick in the top 4. There's a 2% chance they pick number 1 overall, and there's less than a 1% chance they fall to 12. They can fall no lower than 12, but the percentages are more likely they stay at 11. Now, so let's look at the possibilities. If the Knicks go into the top 4, as I mentioned before, they cannot lose really in the top 4. They're going to really get a good player in the top 4 this year. This draft is top heavy. A lot of people you're putting a lot of effort into trying to find diamonds in the rough in the second round. It's going to be a hard year to do that. It's not going to be an easy year to do that. In fact, most of the late first rounders I don't see really making it in the NBA, to be quite honest with you. But it's top heavy. Your top 15 guys is where you're going to find this year for real, you're going to find your talent there. Whereas last year, like I said, was like a gold rush. You can put your cup in the river, you're going to get some nuggets, because last year, all the way well into the second round, look, we got Jericho Sims at 58. That's emblematic of how talented last year's draft was. It was a really deep draft. Okay, really deep draft. So I'm not surprised, that we really hit, because it was hard not to hit last year. So this year, though, it's not like that. You're not going to I don't see them finding a lot of talent outside the top 20. Okay. But that's why I'm glad we are picking at 11. That the likelihood is we're going to get 11, because we're going to get a good player. We're going to get a good player at 11. So if we picked in the top 4, okay, then the Knicks have the option of either taking that player at that position, whichever one they get in the top 4. And again, I think all the mocks agree with the top 4. Chet Holmgren, Jaden Ivey, Paolo Banchero, and Jabari Smith Jr., not necessarily in that order, but everybody has those guys in the top 4. Some people have Keegan Murray up there, and I'm not going to argue with that, but generally speaking, those are your top 4 players. And so you're going to get one of those guys. If the Knicks land in the top 4, they're going to get one of those guys. And you're not going to lose there. Okay, you're going to be in pretty good shape. That would also facilitate moves for the Knicks, like I'm about to say. So from 5 to 10, the ping pong balls will not put the Knicks 5 to 10. For the Knicks to go 5 to 10, they have to trade up. Okay? So if they traded up in the 5 to 10 range, there's only one guy I want. That's Benedict Mathurin. In the 5 to 10 range, I want Mathurin. That's the guy I'm looking at. Okay? If I could get him, I'm good. Okay? Other than that, if they picked in the top 4 and did not pick Jaden Ivey, but even if they do pick Jaden Ivey, But anybody, put it this way, anybody the Knicks picked in the top 4, it's going to facilitate a trade. That's why I'm saying my hypothesis is Julius Randle will not be a New York Knick in the training camp. I would be shocked if he's still a Knick in training camp. Okay, with all that went on this year. Again, we talked about it. All of the antics, all of the bad attitude, all of the lack of effort on the defensive end of the floor consistently for somebody that's a $100 million player. I will be shocked if he's still here in training camp. Okay, that's no one. So I'm expecting Obi to be anointed as the starting power forward. So anybody they get in the top 4 is going to facilitate a trade. If they get Jaden Ivey, you're going to have to trade some people because you want to play Ivey. You do. Look, Tom Thibodeau would have Ivey in the G League. Y'all understand that, right? Like, you know I'm not telling no lie. If you drafted Jaden Ivey and you left it up to Tom Thibodeau, you're going to have Alec Burks as your point guard, and Ivey would be in the G League. And that would be ridiculous. Right? I think we can agree. That would be ridiculous. So a trade will be happening if they drafted Jaden Ivey. They're going to clear room to make this kid get some minutes. Okay? Period. If they drafted Paolo Banchero, Jabari Smith Jr., or Chet Holmgren, Randle is as sure as going. Okay? Now, some of you mentioned Holmgren. I was not high on Holmgren because of the problems I see coming with durability. As far as talent, there is no doubt this kid got talent. And if he can stay healthy in the NBA, which I'm very doubtful about, but if he can, man, you're going to have a tremendous player, a championship piece in Chet Holmgren. But I'm very doubtful about his durability. He only, look, 34 games in college is not an NBA season, man. And he's going to be banging against Joker, Adebayo, Embiid, Anthony Davis when he's not hurt. Okay? Cat. He's going to be banging with dudes like this, man. 82 games. Gobert. Yeah. And so this ain't no college, South Carolina State he's playing against. And talent-wise, he can hang. Sure. I'm not going to front. He can hang. But durability-wise, I see Kristaps Porzingis. Right? I see Kristaps Porzingis. And that's my problem. And I hope I'm wrong. I'm just saying, I hope I'm wrong. Because I'm going to tell you, if the Knicks were to get a pick where Holmgren's on the board, they got a choice to make. And there would be a powerful choice. Either take him or you trade him for somebody that's got multiple picks, like you trade with Oklahoma City and you take multiple picks that Oklahoma City has. Oklahoma City has multiple picks in the first round. Right? And there's another team like that too. I forgot which one, but there's another team that got multiple picks in the first round. In the lottery. You might trade and get 2 picks for one, especially if you're still in the top 10. If you move from, let's say you're number 1, you trade Holmgren and you go and you pick for somebody's like 7th and 12th. Well, shoot, man. I'm getting Mathurin and I'm getting Sohan. You see what I'm saying? Now I'm getting both of them. But yeah, that, you know what I mean? Or Portland, right? Portland, that's another one. Pacers. If you got 2 picks in the top 15 and we get Holmgren, we might trade that pick. But if the Knicks are in the top 4 and they draft Ivy, Paolo Banchero, or Jabari Smith, a trade is happening. 100% guaranteed. A trade is happening. They're not drafting in the top 4 to have them kids ride the pine. Not in their rookie year. No, that's not going to happen. Okay, I don't care what Tibbs come out with. You got to earn it. Whatever the hell. You draft one of them kids, that boy is playing. That boy is playing. Okay, period. But the likelihood is they're drafting at 11. And the likelihood is Benedict Mathurin is gone by 11. Okay, he's gone by 11. So to me, Sohan's our guy because you get Sohan who can already guard on an elite NBA level right now at age 19. I'm not worried about his offense. Somebody look, some people just looked at the stats and saw 20-something% from three and wrote it off. No, brother. You know what? I started to do that myself, and y'all kept coming at me. I said, let me take a look at this Sohan kid. Somebody said, this is a guy you would like. And I was like, you know what? Whoever said that, y'all were right. Because I'm looking at this boy and I'm like, oh my God. Please bring that boy to the Knicks. Please put him in the Knicks uniform. I love Sohan. To me, it's Mathurin and Sohan. Outside the top four, it's Mathurin and Sohan, man. If I could get them, boom, done. I like Dyson Daniels. I like him also. But I don't like him better than the 3-point guards we have. I don't like him better than Joko Bidas, Deuce, and IQ. That's my problem with Dyson Daniels. I like Dyson Daniels. I don't like him better than those three guys. That's my problem. Okay? That's the problem I'm having. I'm not saying he's not going to be a good NBA player. I'm just saying I got three guys I got to find out about. The exception for that would be Jaden Ivey. Now, Jaden Ivey, I think we understand he's a talent exception. For him, I'm making moves for whoever I got to make, and I want this kid playing. Okay? Period. Mathurin also. Mathurin's a wing. I'll make a move. If I draft a Benedict Mathurin, I'm making room so he could play. Period. Now, regarding Mitchell Robinson, let's talk about Mitch Robinson. First of all, I mentioned in the previous video before I got cut off, I mentioned in the previous video, Ode to Frank Ntilikina. All of you out there was talking about Frank is not an NBA player and was giving you the big laugh emojis when I said he was a playoff piece. What y'all thinking now? Where y'all at? It's total crickets out there on Frank Nitty. Chris Paul don't want to see Frank Nitty. He don't want no parts of Frank Nitty. Did you see Frank rise up and block Devin Booker's jump shot? Did y'all see that? Did you see that? He don't score a lot, and I still believed if he had the confidence he could, but man, come on now. He's a playoff piece. Okay? And I still tell y'all, he's going to get better offensively. He's still young. So we blew that. We blew it. Mitchell Robinson is a playoff piece. I've been hearing some of y'all talk about, okay, he's a role player, but he's a playoff role player. Frank is a role player you want on a playoff team. Alec Burks is a role player. Do you want him on your playoff team coming in the fourth quarter? Yes, you do. What about Mitchell Robinson? Mitchell Robinson is one of the top 4 or 5 defenders at his position in the NBA. He's been that way. Some of y'all got to step back and take a look at what it takes to be a 5 in the NBA. Again, I want to just explain to you, especially all you looking at Jalen Duren and looking at Mark Williams and looking at these 5s, in the draft, and we got to get this guy, we got to get him, we must take him. You need to understand something. Listen carefully. Y'all got me now. I know we ain't get cut off yet. Look, it takes a center, an athletic center, 2 seasons to learn not to get in foul trouble. That's if they're really good. Okay? Are you catching? Okay? So you don't expect a young 5 to come in and just dominate. Now, it does happen. But that's a rarity. That's your Shaq. That's your Tim Duncan. That's your David Robinson. But that's Hall of Fame level talent. That's rare. Your athletic 5s especially are going to get in foul trouble. They spend 2 seasons learning not to get in foul trouble. And that's aside from the fact if they get hurt, which also is possible. Look at Wiseman. Okay, y'all remember Wiseman? How many of y'all thought Wiseman was going to be all world in his rookie year? Okay, I still think he has talent to play, but we don't even know yet. This is Mitchell Robinson. His first 2 seasons were trying to learn not to get in foul trouble. His 3rd season, he got that. He got it. Okay, he was not getting in foul trouble, but then he broke his foot. So he couldn't work out last summer. He could not work out last summer. He spent the first 4 months of the season getting in shape, if you remember, and looking bad against Miles Turner because he wasn't in shape. But once he got in shape, Turner didn't want to see him. Nobody wanted to see him. And then some of y'all will, well, he needs to get an offensive game. We need a center that can shoot the 5. People with platforms that say crap like that drive me crazy. Like, what? Now, have you seen the recent videos of him hitting 3-pointers from the logo? From the logo? Wait, have you seen that? Go check it out. Because this is the first season that he's going to get a chance to develop offensive game. This is the first season he's going to do it. He has never had the chance to do that prior to now. Okay? So give him a chance before y'all start saying what he can't do. And that's what I'm saying. I hear my man Mark Berman, Obi could play if he could just shoot. Tom would play him. He just can't shoot. If only Obi could shoot. What them saying now? What them saying now? Where they at now? You're hearing me? Give Mitch Rob a chance to develop offensive game. The Knicks need to sign him at all costs this summer. You need to sign him. Period. The fortunate thing is Obi's numbers are inflated. Wait. Let me ask a question. When Obi scored 42 and 35, was he playing against NBA players? I just want to make sure. Was he playing against NBA players when he did that? Huh? Was he? That's all I need to know. For y'all to be talking that inflated crap, you need to go look at basketball. Please learn something about the NBA because you don't know what you're talking about. Please. He played against NBA players. I don't care what you are. If you score 40 against NBA players, you could play. Period. Stop it. What? Inflated. Oh my gosh, man. Please go. Anyway, as I was saying, Obi needed to get a lather. He needed to play more than 5, 6, 10 minutes at a time. Okay, that's what he needed for him to get confidence. Did you hear what he said? He wasn't having to look over his shoulder. Do you remember when he was taken out of the Brooklyn game when he was playing good and he looked over the tip and said, "What did I do?" Thank you, Adele, for the super chat. More impressive, Rokas or Deuce this year? Deuce. Rokas is still got to come in and, how to go earn it, But I just want Rokas in the rotation, period. Yeah, Castle King, you're right. But look, anywho, so Obi needed to not look over his shoulder in order to feel relaxed enough to play his game. And his game includes a solid 3-point shot. Now, as I was saying, with Mitch Rob, sign him. The good thing about Mitchell Robinson, okay, is that he's probably limited to about 60 million. Okay, he's probably limited to about 60 million. That's a good, because it would be messed up if somebody paid him 80 million, because I don't think the Knicks are going to do that. But I would pay him up to 60 million. I'm looking at the Robert Williams III contract, and I'm basing it on that, who got 39, 42 million in that range. Mitch Rob should get that. And I think he will stay with the Knicks if they gave him a fair contract, something 55, something like that. Okay. And so we got to sign him. They got to re-sign him. Okay. Unless he decides he wants to leave. But you keep Mitchell Robinson. You drafted him. You developed him. And I love Leon Rose. I express my respect and awe at Leon. But it's a fireable offense if you let this boy walk for nothing. You pay him. Okay. You pay him. He's been earned that money. So you pay him. I'm assuming they're going to pay him now. I'm assuming Leon's not letting him go, just like I'm assuming that Mark Cuban is not letting Jalen Brunson go either. Okay, so they got to pay him, period. End of story. Regarding Randall, here's an important statistic that I'd like you all to consider about Julius Randle. Okay, here's an important statistic that I would like you all to consider about Julius Randle. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, here we go. Here we go. Julius Randle has played 8 full seasons in the NBA. 8 full seasons. Okay? Out of the 8 full seasons, only 1 season has been above 500. Now, sometimes you might say it's the team he played with. Okay, but 7 years, never above 500? And he's played with guys like Anthony Davis, Brandon Ingram, never above 500? 8 seasons? And you think we're going to win with him? Giving thumbs down and telling the fans to STFU? Knocking monitors out of brothers' hands? You still think we're going to win with him? Like, I know Knicks Nation wants to win, but please, out of 8 seasons, 1 500 season. And in that 500 season, can I say he folded up in the playoffs? Can I say that? Because what happened against Atlanta? You understand? If it was once or twice, I would say, it was bad timing, injuries, especially with Anthony Davis. But come on, man. I mean, what? Enough said. Enough said. Enough said. Okay, next. Next. So, I would be very surprised if he was still here in training camp in September. I would be very surprised if he was still here. That's got to be a move they got to make, especially this year. I mentioned to y'all in January or February, some of y'all might remember, but this is a power forward rich draft, because really Chet Holmgren should play the 4. He's not a 5, right? Paolo Banchero, Jabari Smith Jr., Tari Eason, Keegan Murray. You got a plethora. And then, of course, the guy that I want, Sohan. You got a plethora of very high-level power forwards that's in a top-heavy draft. This is the perfect place where you got to trade a Julius Randle, because you're going to replace him with a talent. No matter who you get of the guys I named, Eason, Sohan, Smith Jr., Holmgren, Banchero, Murray, you're going to replace him with a talent this year if you did that. Okay, you're going to replace Randle with a talent, and you already got a talent in Obi Toppin. So, to me, that's a move that's got to be made. You got to move Randle, but you got to get me Mitchell Robinson back in this game on this team. He's got to come back here. You got to pay him. Now, we talked about the salary cap a couple of videos ago. You guys remember we talked about the salary cap. And the Knicks are not in, and now the point of that video, aside from the fact that there's some teams that are they got decisions to make. Atlanta's got decisions to make. They're in cap hell right now. Okay. And they got decisions to make because they haven't won anything. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, but this year, they was in trouble this year, right? So they got decisions to make. They're going to have to pay some money. The owner already said they're going to make changes. The GM said he's going to make changes, period. So they got decisions to make. Golden State is going to probably stay put and pay heavy money because they're in the San Francisco market. They're winning. They're a global brand because of their track record of championships. And so, they're probably going to just pay the money. But the Knicks are in a very good situation. $5 million over the cap and $28 million under the luxury tax apron. So we got plenty of time, plenty of money. And not only that, you got Burks, Noel, Derrick Rose, Kemba Walker, all of those guys are on expiring deals for all practical purposes. All 4 of those are expiring deals. That's over $40 million right there. That's over $40 million. And that's not even including the MLE. They still got the full mid-level exception. So we're not even dealing with that. But we're just talking about money, right? So they got money they can move. The Knicks got money they can move. Talking about Randall now, if you want to trade Randall, Portland is a good option. Even though, honestly, I like Portland better for Fournier. I like Portland better for Fournier. They can use a Fournier as a shooter coming off the bench. I like Portland better for him. But and I would get back Eric Bledsoe at expiring deal, right? Get back an expiring deal in Bledsoe and send Fournier over there. That opens up room for Grimes and Cam to get heavy minutes at the 2. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. That's the method to our madness there. But Portland is a possibility for Randall. Minnesota needs a Randall as a 3rd option. Okay, they could use him. It would have to be a trade of equal money with Dallas, which Dallas really is another team that got decisions to make because they're also in the tax hell right now. But they do have a couple of contracts they could move. I think Dwight Powell is one. There was another guy. Dwight Powell is one. I think Finney Smith's another. They got a couple of guys that they can move to make room for Jalen Brunson. But it's going to be hard for them to add another salary without sending out something. So I don't know what they're going to do. They got decisions to make. See, a lot of teams got that. When you right now, the Knicks are not at that point yet. They're going to sign RJ to some big number. I'm thinking around $100 million for RJ. They're going to sign him to a big number. Hopefully they re-sign Mitchell Robinson. But you understand RJ's money does not take effect until next season, not this coming season, next season. RJ could sign his extension this year, but the money doesn't take effect until next year. So you can really move some money and still not be in cap hell next year, even with signing RJ and Mitchell Robinson. And that's why I trade Fournier for a top 20. I trade Fournier for whatever I could get. I just, I wouldn't trade him for Westbrook, but I would, or John Wall. I don't want to wait like that. But I'm saying, if I can get picks and get Fournier out here, I really want Grimes to see the light. I want Grimes to be the guy at the 2. I think he's earned it. I think Grimes earned it. I want him to be given the keys to that spot. I want Cam Reddish to see minutes in the rotation. Okay, so to me, moving Burks and moving Fournier opens that up, and that's why I want those 2 guys to play. And again, that's why you want to see what you have in Grimes and Cam. And you want them to get those heavy minutes. That's what I want. So you before you have to make decisions that'll put you in Atlanta's position. Okay. So yeah, I want Fournier moved. I want Fournier moved. Fournier to me would be a guy that I'd bring off the bench in an ideal situation. I would bring him off the bench in the second unit as a shooter if I could. But first of all, I think he'd give you attitude because he thinks he should be a starter. He is in his prime. And then secondly, we got Cam and Grimes that we really want to play. So, yeah, we got to see what happens there with Fournier. Somebody said something that I agree with. I hate to admit it, but not all the vets are going to be gone. So you got what? Let's talk about the vets. You got Fournier, Randall, who else? Burks, Nerlens Noel, Derrick Rose, Taj Gibson. Am I missing somebody? Kemba Walker. All right. So of those 7 guys, somebody's coming back. Somebody's coming back. Not all of them are going to be gone. I think guarantee Kemba's gone. I think Kemba's gone guaranteed, just based on everything that happened this past season with him and Tibbs. And then, of course, the knee situation, he is gone with that. Even though the $9 million fits, I think Taj is going to stay because he's only going to cost a vet minimum or even a mini mid-level exception. I think Taj stays. Other than that, and I think Julius Randle is going to be traded. But other than that, I don't know but who's going and who's staying. I don't know if Derrick Rose is going or Ever Fournier or Burks. Nerlens Noel is another guy I could see them moving on from if they can get rid of him. So you're talking about Nerlens and Kemba are out, and then to me, Randall are obvious targets to be not on this team in September. But other than that, I don't really know. But I do know that every guy they move opens up minutes for one of our younger players. Okay, every guy that they move opens up minutes for one of our younger players. So, for example, you move Kemba, and that's one less point guard you got to deal with, and you can bring in Jokic. You move Nerlens Noel, that's more minutes for Jericho Sims, right? You move Randall, now Obi has the starting 4 spot, and you can look at a backup to him. Okay, so every move they make will open up minutes for one of our younger players. You move a Fournier, we mentioned Grimes and Cam. Okay, so you open up room for somebody by moving some of these guys. Okay, the Melo situation in terms of Carmelo Anthony, it's a nice story. It's a nice story, but I don't want Carmelo. We're at a very critical juncture with the New York Knicks in terms of our personnel. And we're trying to find minutes for our younger guys, our under 24-year-old guys. I don't want Carmelo messing with that. If he wanted to come in and be a mentor on a vet minimum, okay. But even that, I mean, what about this kid Farron Hunt? So you should kick Farron Hunt to the curb so we can give Melo a farewell tour. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you understand? I mean, do you want to do that? Or do you want to see what Farron Hunt has? You understand? So that's the type of thing, we got to look at with a Carmelo Anthony. I don't know. I don't like it. And I'm feeling bad about not liking it because I want to see Carmelo get a proper send-off in New York for his career. But I don't want none of my young players' opportunity hurt because we got to respect Carmelo. This is business. You know what I mean? This is business. So we got to do the right thing here if we're going to develop long-term sustainable winning, right? You're following what I'm saying? So I don't know how this is going to work out. But, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we got a bunch of guys. Thank you, Mike K. He says, thanks for the super chat. Noel, Kemba, Rose, Randall, Burks, Fournier played 47% of the minutes last year. That's 112 minutes a game that could open up. True. Agreed. So that's what I'm saying. Of all of those guys named, Noel, Kemba, Rose, Randall, Burks, Fournier, everyone you move opens up minutes for one of our younger players. Okay, everyone that you move opens up minutes for our younger players. So I want to see as much minutes for the younger guys as possible. When will the Knicks attend the draftees workouts? From past experience, Andrew, the Knicks are more into bringing guys that they're interested in the facility for workouts. And they will go to the combine if there's a guy they're not sure about bringing in. But last year, all of the players that they drafted, Grimes, Deuce, Jokic, they brought in to the facility and worked them out more than once. Okay, so that's all. So I'm not wondering, are they going to see the draftees workouts? I know they're going to be. One thing I am very confident, the Knicks are going to be very diligent and have been very diligent in scouting players. They're going to be very diligent in looking at who they're going to draft. They're not going to leave a stone unturned. Okay, they're just not going to do that. So that's been the MO for the last 2 or 3 seasons, and I expect that to continue. So. Yeah, I'm not worried about them seeing draftees. They're going to see everybody. Yeah, they're going to see everybody. So whoever they're interested in, believe me, they're going to thoroughly look at these guys. And you could be pretty confident that if they draft somebody, they've done background on. They're not going to just draft somebody without doing a thorough check. And when I mean that, like, you take a Deuce. They went and they talked to his high school football coach in Cincinnati. They obviously talked to his parents. They talked to his coach Huggins, obviously at West Virginia. They talked to the trainer. And so they get background on these guys. When they were looking at Devin Vassell, they went down to Georgia and they looked at all of that. They talked to Florida State head coach Leonard Hamilton. They talked to the trainers. They talked to Devin Vassell's church people. They talked to his parents. So they get background on these guys. You can be confident they're going to background these guys very well. D Spitz 35. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Why would you never mention Shaden Sharp? Shaden Sharp. Okay, let me ask you. Do we have any video of Shaden Sharp playing against Division I players or pro players in any level? Do we have Summer League him playing against NBA players? Do we have anything of him playing against Division I players? Or are you making your Shaden Sharp pick on high school tapes? Are you doing that? Because that's a risk. And I don't want to take risk in the draft. That's why I don't mention it. Okay? I'm not into the high school hype of him dunking on high school players. I'm not. Now, he comes to the combine and he rocks out at the combine. Now you're talking something different. Okay? Now you're talking something different. If he goes to the combine next week and he starts busting people in their arse from the combine next week, okay, we could talk about Shaden Sharp. But other than that, I don't want to talk about Shaden Sharp because he's too much of a risk. Holmgren I take before Shaden Sharp right now because at least I know what I can expect from Holmgren. I would take Holmgren, Jabari Smith, Jaden Ivey, Paulo Banchero. I would take Keegan Murray. I would take Matherin. All of these guys before Shaden Sharp because I've seen them against top competition. Shaden Sharp is in everybody's imagination. You don't know what he could do. Come on. I want to see him against somebody that could play. Okay? I'm talking about I want to see him in combine against some kids that can play. Okay? No, we already got 3-point guards, Peter. What are we looking at Davion Mitchell for? I want to see what Joku Bidas has. I want to see what Deuce has. I want to see if we give the keys to IQ, can he play? I don't need Davion Mitchell right now. For what? No. For what? See, I try to distinguish my fandom of a player from what I think fits on the Knicks. For what? I like Davion Mitchell. He's all good, but yeah, no. I want to see what we got already. I like Davion Mitchell as a player. I think he's going to be really good, but I want to see what we got already. We already got 3 good guys. I want to see what we got. That's right. And we should sign Mitchell Robinson regardless. We need to sign him. Period. Don't let him walk. Sign him. All right. Period. But as far as Shaden Sharp, that's why you don't see me mentioning him a lot. Now, if he goes to the combine, listen to me carefully, y'all. If he goes to the combine next week and busts people in their A's, then yeah, I'll be high on him. Okay. But I got to see that first. I'm not just drafting him because he dunked on people in high school. You know how many players did that? Come on, man. Please. You know how many busts in the NBA could do the things he do in high school? So, nah. I got to see him against some competition, man. Some real competition. He's not even like Joku Bidas. Let me ask you a question. Did Joku Bidas play in Europe against better competition than Sharp played in high school? I think it's no contest, right? I think it's no contest. So I would take more of a risk on Joku Bidas than I would on Shaden Sharp. I don't even know what Shaden Sharp can do. He could be like one of them cats that go off on the playground, but they can't play in the league. I don't know. I'm definitely not wasting a top 10 pick on him. Come on. I got to see something more than ESPN highlights. I got to see more. So, yeah, that's why you see me not mentioning Shaden Sharp. I'm not saying he's a bust. I'm saying I have no idea what to expect. I don't know what to expect from him. Zero. No idea. It's like I'm just reaching. And I don't want to reach when it comes to the draft. We got to know what we're getting. We talked about how thorough the Knicks are, right? Shaden Sharp doesn't even fit the profile. Like, We don't know nothing about him as far as a player. Okay, so we're going to see what happens. But yeah, so we're going to see what happens. So yeah, that's why you don't see me mentioning Shaden Sharp too much. Holmgren, I like Holmgren. Talent, definitely. Durability is a big issue, though. I'm really scared after our KP experience. I ain't going to front. I'm nervous after our KP experience. This kid could be an all-star, or he can get hurt after 60 or 50 games. He could be Anthony Davis 2.0, or he could be a real legit stud. I don't know. And I don't like risk, man. I like to reduce the risk if I can in the draft. That's my thing. I like to reduce the risk in the draft. I'd like to reduce the risk if I can. You're taking a risk by drafting any of these guys. You really are. You're taking a risk, but you do as much background as possible to reduce the level of risk in your pick. Like, I'd be very comfortable with Paolo Banchero. I'd be very comfortable with Jabari Smith. I'd be very comfortable with Jaden Ivey. And of course, I mentioned Benedict Mathurin. I'm very comfortable. And Sohan, I'm very comfortable drafting any of those guys. The risk is minimal of what we're getting there. Okay, worst case for Sohan, he's all NBA defense, but he can never shoot. Fine, I'll take him. I'll take him. He's a stopper. Frank Ntilikina from the 4th spot. Okay, I'll take him. That's a winning player. That's a playoff style player. That's what you need. Okay, not everybody's a superstar. Not everybody's a superstar. Okay. Yeah, I don't think RJ's getting that much, honestly. I would be shocked if he got more than $125 million. I think he should get somewhere around where Randall's getting, 123, 125, something like that. Somewhere between 100 and 125. I would be shocked if he got more than that. I'll be shocked. Kessler Walker is okay. There's too many players better than him in this draft. Too many players better than him. That's what I'm saying. Too many players better than him. When you're asking about a guy and you see I haven't mentioned him, that's because there's too many players I would pick before that guy. That's why. There's too many guys I would pick before that guy. Kessler's one of those type of players. There's too many guys I would pick before I looked at Kessler. Okay, too many guys. That's what I'm saying. So, yeah. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they're going to, go 158 million for RJ. I love RJ, but I'm 100 to 125. I would see that. I could see that. So, yeah. But sign Mitchell Robinson. We're going to probably pick at 11. I want Sohan at 11. If Mathurin's there, obviously I'll take him, but I don't think he'll be there at 11. And so, and I think Julius Randle's getting traded. The big three is played out, and so is tanking. Tanking is stupid, and the big three is played out. Again, with the big three, you guys know what I'm talking about now, right? I'm not talking about Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. That's not what I mean. I'm not talking about Tatum, Brown, and Smith. I'm talking about guys that use their leverage and their free agency power to manipulate the market and get other of their friends to join on one team, with 3 of them taking up, 60% of the cap or more. And then you got minimum guys to fill out the roster. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, we're going to be live for the lottery. Now, I'm not sure. Let me just look it up now. We're going to be live for the lottery. Yes, we are. We're going to be live for the lottery. Hold on. I'm going to tell you what time. We're going to be live for the lottery. It's Tuesday. I know it's Tuesday. I don't know what time though. So it depends on the time. We're going to be, I know it's Tuesday. Yeah, it's Tuesday. So we're going to be live for the lottery, but of course we can't broadcast the lottery. So I'm either going to do it right after it's done, or we're going to do it while it's going and we'll talk about it as we see it. Does that make sense, y'all? So we're going to be live though Tuesday night. We're going to be live Tuesday night. We're going to be looking at the lottery for sure. It's a big night for us. So yeah. And then Wednesday or Thursday, I'm getting together with I'm either getting together with Cynic or with my man Jay Ellis, and we're going to talk about the Knicks picks at 11. If they pick up 11, or of course it'll be big news if they end up in the top 4. It'll be big news at that point. So then we have a lot to talk about. But at 11, again, I'm looking at Sohan. I see some mocks picking Sohan to go to Washington at 10, and I don't understand why somebody would think that would happen when they have Denny Avdiva, they got Kyle Kuzma, they got Rui Hachimura, and why would they pick Sohan? I don't understand why somebody thinks that would happen, but I don't believe that. I think Washington would take a Dyson Daniels or a guard to go next to Beal or to be heir apparent to Beal if Beal leaves. So that so I like our chances of getting Sohan at 11. I like our chances a lot of getting him at 11. The Don might make me nervous though by trading down and thinking he could still get him. Hopefully no more one-legged Kemba. Like I said, of the veterans, I'm 90% sure you won't see Kemba, you won't see Nerlens Noel, and I'm probably 75% sure you won't see Julius Randle. Other than that, I don't know what they're going to do. I hope they move Burks because I don't want Tibbs repeating that stupidity from last year. So I hope they move Burks. I'd love if they did keep Burks for him to be in the rotation in the second unit, our fourth quarter dude. I'd love that, but we'll see. But no, this is a top-heavy draft. This is not a draft you want to depend on the second round to get talent. This is not that draft. Last year was that draft, not this one. This one, take a top 20. Get your top 20, okay? Don't start messing around and trying to get second-round picks and thinking you're going to get talent. Not this year. Not this year. You either move up into the lottery or you stay in the lottery, and then I wouldn't go no lower than 20. And the only reason I mentioned that is if they wanted to take a chance on a Patrick Baldwin or EJ Liddell, or that Malachi kid that played with Liddell. Malachi, what's his name? Malachi Branham. Somebody like that. They wanted to take a chance on somebody like that, but I wouldn't even pick. There's too many guys above those guys that I would pick. And so I would. This is not the draft to mess around in the second round. The Knicks got pick 42. Whatever. Throw the dartboard and see what you could get at 42. But it's gonna be tough this year. So he's representing Nick William Wesley, Worldwide West. Let's see what Worldwide West do for us. Let's see what Worldwide West do for us. Let's see what he do for us. But right now, I'm pretty confident we'll be at 11 unless they move. And if there's a miracle they move to the top 4, man, that's going to be so hyped. So hyped. But I'm really thinking 11, and I'm really thinking Sohan is our guy. And so we'll see what happens on Tuesday night. But look, thank you all for showing up today, especially with all the trouble we had. Y'all been really good. Thank you all of y'all. And then the super chats. Let me look up here. We got. I can't even see. We got all y'all who gave super chats. Thank you very much. Adele Chapman. Somebody else did too. Not skip anybody. Mike K. D Spills 35. Thank you all for the super chats and all of you guys who participated. Pudge, Joe Curry, Pudge Nice, George Curry, Andrew, all of you guys, Sanga, all of you guys that participated. Bless, Castle King, my man. Thank you all very much, and I'm very appreciative of all the support we get on the channel. Praise the Most High for y'all. We'll be back. We'll be back on Tuesday going live for the draft and definitely following what I believe is going to be at number 11, and we'll get Sohan. Like I said, if we go into the top 4, I will be so hyped, man. We all will be, right? If we go into the top 4, we'll be so hyped. But I'm thinking 11. I'm thinking Sohan's our guy, and we're going to go from there. All right? Y'all, please enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm getting ready to go hit the gym and work out a little bit, work my old bones, see if we can do something with it. But y'all enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the games. Shalom.